Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening. One of my meanderings again, and a subject that I've been passionate about virtually ever since I started doing this. Uh, the word that sums it all up is intuition and using it. I feel that it is the thing or the difference between being good at what you do or bad. And it concerns not just mediums or clairvoyants, it concerns people that are healing too. Because I don't know about you, but when I do a healing, I connect with my higher self and I listen to what they have to say to me. And without them being there, I would be in trouble. And with misinterpretation, it makes it even more difficult. So, when I started my journey, and this is leading up to believing in intuition, I'll never forget. It was in 1999, and and it was just after Christmas, and I was on my own, and I was on the computer, and someone sent me a message, and it was a woman who I'd never spoken to before, and she explained that she was with one of her mates. And they saw that I did numerology, which I'd been doing since about 96, I think. And they said, "Oh, I'm interested in that. So you can tell us all about ourselves and tell us what we look like." Now, if you know anything about numerology, you will know that I can't tell you that you're 4'6", blonde, and got hairy hands, because I don't know that. If you want to know what you may be going to happen with the way things are going at the moment in, shall we say, 2024 on January the 7th, I might be able to help you. So, being the man that I was and not sort of directly involved with intuition consciously, I gave her or gave them both the numerology reading, which was fine, that worked. And I then gave them a character description, what they looked like and the way they were and everything else. And I discovered after they told me that I was spot on. The lady explained to me that they had a woman in the room with them from Spirit since they got together that night. And they said, or should I say she said, that the spirit person, said that they were going to talk to somebody with my name. So I asked her to describe this person to me, and it worked out that it was my mother, which freaked me a little bit because, I didn't have the same belief as I have now. So anyway, we continued talking. And this went on for several days, and I even went up to see her where she lived in Sheffield, and just under 12 months later, she moved to Exeter, and we've been together since then. So that works out 24 years. Intuition played a big part in this, and my development over the years has increased and increased. Well, I think it has anyway. But believing in guides, connecting with guides, working with guides, learning who my gatekeeper was, and having so many guides that helped me in various areas that I needed help in. And gradually some of those diminished, they left, and it were replaced by one or two others. I discovered that the main guide, who was drawn for me by a guy called Peter John, who is a fabulous artist many years ago, was my gatekeeper, and I had spent time with him in Atlantis. I had taught him. I was a priest stroke teacher, and I had taught him, and we both managed to get out before it all went down the toilet, and we moved to Egypt. So he now teaches me, and he is still a very major part in my development even now. I've added and got rid of several of my guides, especially got rid of, and I really only have 3 main guides. I don't have a gatekeeper as such anymore. Rosamond is there, that's what he's called, my Atlantean man, and also my father, who stays with me, and he observes, and he comes in and just has his 4 pennyworth when it's necessary. And also another guide that came in who I didn't know who he was, and long story short, I was told by a medium that she knew who he was, and it works out that it was a archangel called Melchizedek, and Melchizedek taught Christ all he knew, and it is said by some that he is or was actually Christ. He is the epitome of Christ, and he stays with me, and he does most of the work now. I did say to them up there that if they wanted me to accept that, although you don't have a lot to say, I would need Rosamond to stay with me, because he's been there since day one, more or less, and I wouldn't want it to be any different. So that is my structure at the moment. Conversations with, learning to know when they come in and when they go. This might be certain things like touching you on the back of the neck or getting goosebumps or whatever, but you know when a guide is coming in, and you ask them a question and they explain to you what you need to know, and working quite honestly with the first answer, not the answer that you think is best for you or the one that you prefer. That is essential. It really is essential to do that. So development with connection with your guides is, in my opinion, so important. Over the years, I've seen many clairvoyant mediums, and I've watched them on platform. Some of them have been, I have to say it, dreadful, and I'm sure you feel the same. And some have been good, and some have just fallen short a little. In my opinion, it's misinterpretation, not having a good connection with your guide or your gatekeeper, learning to listen and learning to understand what they mean, and that is so important. It's a continual process, learning, upgrading, listening and talking to, and setting ground rules too. Just because they say you've got to do that, you don't necessarily have to do it as they say. You negotiate. And I've heard so many people say over the years, I'm fed up with it. I go out on a day out and I sit down and I'm constantly getting, oh, that lady over there has just broke her leg 3 months ago and she's still suffering in her left knee with the pain. And that lady over there, she's going to fall over the week after next, and she's going to break her arm, and so on and so on. You need to make ground rules and getting a good rapport with your higher self. I can thoroughly thank God that now they know the way it is. They know I am there to serve and to help whenever I can. But if I go out socially, I am not going to be bombarded with masses of information. that will not happen. And I don't need to stipulate that because they know. I'm sorry for going on a bit, but it is, passionate to me. Trying to encourage people to get a great connection with your higher self, and it'll make life so much easier. And to be fair, the veil is getting thinner and thinner, and the information that's coming through is getting easier and easier to comprehend. My closing words, you'll be pleased to hear. The words are, firstly, do you believe in your guides? And 99.5% normally say yes. My reply is, well, why don't you listen to them? I'll leave it there. Thank you for your time, and hopefully I will speak to you soon. Thank you.